are fixing the elections in Texas. But that does not mean that California should fix the elections because of that. Two wrongs don't make a right.
You don't buy what Governor Newsom's saying?
Of course not. Look, I've sat there in Sacramento. I've listened to the politicians for 7 years. They are not interested in giving any power to the people. The only interest that they have is to take power away from the people and grab it themselves. So this gives them a great opportunity by saying, oh, we have to fight Trump. Let's go and get...
Arnold Schwarzenegger just dropped a political dumbbell straight on Gavin Newsom's head. And trust me, California hasn't been this entertained since the last power outage. The Terminator's done flexing muscles. Now he's flexing opinions. And let's just say Newsom probably wishes Judgment Day had stayed in the movies. Buckle up. When the Governator calls you out, it's not a debate. It's a cinematic roast fueled by protein shakes and chaos.
Dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days. Not just.
Before we move on, smash that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss this one. California might need a new state anthem after this, because Arnold Schwarzenegger just remixed the political playlist. The man who once fought futuristic robots is now battling modern bureaucracy. And somehow, Gavin Newsom became the final boss. You know things are bad when the Terminator looks at California and says, I'll be back, once the taxes calm down.
You know, it's like there's some challenges all over the world. Los Angeles has its challenges, and I hope they solve the challenges very quickly, and that the federal government and the state and the locals all can work together in solving those problems.
I'm sure you're glad you don't have to be a decision maker anymore, or do you wish you were?
I would be more than happy to make those decisions.
It's poetic, really. The Hollywood action hero turned governor, turned global eco-warrior, taking on a guy who styles his hair like it's running for office. You can almost smell the ego in the air. A blend of cologne, ambition, and broken policy promises.
What's your view in terms of what should happen nationwide when it comes to redistricting?
Well, first of all, in California, it's a big mistake to go and to dismantle and to basically kind of get rid of the independent redistricting commission under the auspices of we got to have more power than the Republicans. And we got to fight Trump.
Arnold didn't just call out Gavin. This was a full cinematic performance. The kind of dramatic moment where you half expect him to light a cigar, lean back, and tell California it needs more biceps and less bureaucracy. When the former governor, who once ran the state on charisma and protein powder, decides to lecture the current one, you know the drama's juicier than a Hollywood reboot.
Much further when I was governor, by working together with the Democrats, by letting them know they're not the enemy, that I am a strong believer that if we want to go and make California successful or America successful, we can do this the best possible way by having Democrats and Republicans work.
Gavin Newsom isn't just a politician anymore. He's a walking brand. His hair has more structure than the state's economy, and his speeches sound like TED Talks written by a PR team paid in almond milk. Yet somehow, it's Arnold bringing the heat, calling out the chaos in the same state he once ruled like a gym coach with executive powers.
About the United States of America. He doesn't believe in that. He believes in the red states. He's going after, it's a war. He's a wartime president. He's the head of a war party. War on women, war on voting rights, war on Hispanics, a war on this state, war on institutions, war on history. I mean, this is serious. This guy's trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. That's what he's going to try to say tomorrow in Alaska, that he's the big guy trying to find peace, really? When he's bringing war to the American people?
The funniest part? Arnold probably didn't even mean to cause an earthquake. He just made an offhand comment about California's leadership, and suddenly Sacramento was shaking harder than a 9.0. The man sneezes, and political pundits start analyzing it like scripture. You could almost feel the collective eye roll. From across the Pacific, the California governor, who spends half his time convincing people everything's fine, suddenly found himself roasted by the only man who can make climate change sound like a movie pitch. You know things are getting awkward when even Hollywood elites are asking, wait, whose side are we on? One's all brute force, the other's inner peace, and both think they're saving the state. The timing couldn't have been funnier.
To fight for democracy and to get rid of your democratic principles. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing against Newsom. We don't have a fight over this at all.
Yeah, because you guys met. What was that like when you guys met together?
It was a wonderful meeting. He told me what he felt. I told him, I said, I totally get it, because this is what you need to do to be the leader of the party. I totally get it, but I'm not a party person, I said. I'm a people's person. I always will fight for the power of the...
Newsom's been parading as the golden boy of progressive politics, flirting with national ambitions, and then, bam, Arnold drops a verbal dumbbell right on his jawline. It's like California's karma just showed up wearing sunglasses and a leather jacket. Arnold's message was simple. Sure, there was chaos when I ran things, but at least people could afford rent. Now Newsom's wishing for an invisibility cloak, preferably something sustainable, made from recycled scandals. The internet, of course, exploded. X split in two. Half cheering Arnold's boldness, the other half defending Newsom like he's California's last avocado tree. Memes multiplied faster than housing prices. And somewhere, Elon Musk was probably adding popcorn emojis. Both men's visions are pure cinema. One's an action movie, the other's a documentary insisting everything's fine while the lights flicker.
Brad, what's Arnie the Terminator up to in California?
So he's upset now about gerrymandering in California and in Texas. There's basically this big back and forth that's going on where in Texas, Republicans are planning on doing mid-decade gerrymandering, which is redrawing the legislative districts to give yourself more seats in Congress by kind of choosing your voters. This is something Democrats have historically been against and wanted to ban, but now they're saying they will do it too in response.
Arnold's critique wasn't just political, it was personal. You could tell he's still emotionally attached to California. It's like watching a guy drive past his old mansion and see it falling apart under new ownership. He probably tried not to comment, but there's only so much chaos you can watch before your inner Terminator kicks in. Newsom, of course, pretended not to care. That's the California way. Smile, deflect, and talk about innovation. But inside, you know he's fuming. Getting called out by Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't something you just brush off. It's like being roasted by a legend who ran the same office and somehow made it look fun. And subtlety, not Arnold's style. He doesn't whisper criticism, he drops it like a weight plate. His version of diplomacy comes with metaphors about strength, discipline, and maybe a casual nod to destroying your enemies. One's built like a tank, the other like a luxury electric car, and you can guess which one Californians feel stuck with when the grid fails.
Here criticizing Trump and Gavin Newsom for doing it. I'm not sure he'll be able to actually do anything about it. It's kind of baked into our political system, but things are fine. Things are going amazing here. We're just kind of in a perpetual race to the bottom of who can take the shadiest step next to kind of rig the political system in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, do we expect anything else from the pin-up boy for stupidity, Newsom? No.
Let's be honest, Arnold calling out Newsom is also Arnold calling out himself. He helped build this circus. He's the founding father of California's celebrity politics. Without him, Newsom might still be practicing speeches in front of a mirror. It's a full circle moment. The mentor turned critic, the original showman scolding his successor for forgetting his lines. The irony drips thicker than a protein shake. The state that turned governance into an entertainment franchise is now watching its past and present battle for top billing. It's The Expendables, Sacramento edition. So really, what better way for Arnold to reinsert himself into the spotlight than by taking a shot at the current King of California cool? Meanwhile, Newsom's probably pacing in front of a mirror, rehearsing his response. But how do you clap back at a man whose very existence is already a meme? You can't out-cool Arnold. You can't out-fame him. All you can do is pray the next wildfire, flood, or tech scandal distracts everyone before your approval ratings melt faster than ice cream in LA heat.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is against what Gavin Newsom is doing in California. And that should tell you something. Here's what's going on in California if you don't know. Gavin Newsom is pushing a plan that would weaken the state's independent redistricting commission. The commission was created to make sure that election maps are fair. No political party rigging the lines. But Newsom's proposal could give more control back to the politicians. And that's where Arnold comes in. Remember, Schwarzenegger is a Republican, but he's not necessarily a Trump guy. Yet even Arnold Schwarzenegger says this move by Newsom...
Arnold's criticism hit hard because it came from experience. He knows what it's like to wrestle California's chaos. And he knows when someone's just overcomplicating it. His unspoken message was simple. Stop treating the state like a philosophy class and start fixing the damn potholes. It's brutally honest. Californians don't want TED Talks about renewable energy while their cars disappear into sinkholes. They want leadership that actually leads, not leadership that just looks good in magazine spreads. And that's where Arnold's jab really lands. He's not just mocking policy, he's mocking the entire aesthetic of modern politics, where leaders pose like models and talk like motivational speakers but can't keep the lights on. That's Arnold's secret sauce, sincerity mixed with absurdity. You can practically hear him say, "When I was governor, we lifted California up." And somehow you'd believe him, because even when he exaggerates, it still feels more real than half of what modern politicians say.
This movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is preparing to battle Governor Newsom over Newsom's redistricting efforts. Ashley, explain to us how Schwarzenegger is planning to fight against Newsom.
He's back.
The
former governor of California, he's back. He has a beef with the current governor, and he says democracy is at stake. Schwarzenegger is angry with Newsom for planning to redistrict California, who are doing that in response to the same.
The media loved it, of course. Headlines everywhere, commentators breaking it down like a heavyweight match. One side called Arnold brave. The other called him out of touch. Meanwhile, the rest of America just watched in confusion, wondering why California insists on turning its politics into a Netflix series. Arnold's move also revealed something deeper, the state's ongoing identity crisis. California wants to be a moral leader, a climate savior, a tech paradise, but can't figure out how to keep gas prices under $7. And Arnold basically said what everyone's been thinking. Maybe stop trying to save the world and just fix California first. It's that mix of brutal honesty and showmanship that makes him so unpredictable. You can't tell if he's campaigning or trolling, but one thing's certain, no chart can beat a good one-liner from the Terminator. Facts are fragile. Charisma is forever. And in that arena, Arnold's still undefeated. The tension between the two men mirrors California's bigger problem, the eternal clash between image and substance. The state has mastered the art of looking successful while quietly collapsing under its own weight. Arnold just had the nerve to point it out, loudly and with enough swagger to make it go viral.
Christian, you're in California. I have a lot of people here in Australia talking to me about Gavin Newsom, asking what I think about him. And I feel like this is one of those moments that's very revealing about the guy's character. I mean, if he's going to be so petty about this, is everything just going to be this political fight, turning everybody into either friends or enemies?
Yeah, it's a bad look for sure. And it's something he shouldn't really be engaging with. He should just honor the ex-governor, who's obviously a huge movie star and a pop culture icon, and just leave it there. I mean, I think that's magnanimous. I think it's what people want.
Amid the chaos, you can almost hear the collective sigh of Californians tired of polished incompetence. Arnold has become their unfiltered voice. The guy saying what everyone else's PR teams won't. But don't be fooled. This isn't just a retired celebrity venting. It's calculated. Every move, every quote feels like part of the Arnold legacy project. He's reminding everyone that while the new guard tweets about progress, the old guard actually did things, even if those things sometimes involved budget cuts and questionable movie cameos. Still, it's hard not to laugh at the spectacle. Two rich, photogenic men arguing over who loves California more. It's like a beauty pageant for politicians who refuse to age gracefully. One's got the tan and the teeth, the other's got the muscles and the memories, and the more you think about it, the funnier it gets. A man who built his career pretending to save the world, now scolding another man for pretending to save the state. It's hypocrisy in high definition, and it's glorious.
Arnold speaks, people listen. He literally said that trying to mess with this commission is dangerous for democracy. By the way, we don't live in a democracy, we live in a constitutional republic. Think about that for a second. It's not just Republicans that are criticizing this. Arnold has worked across party lines before, so if even he is against it, you know it's got to be a big deal. At the end of the day, fair maps mean fair elections, and nobody should be afraid of fairness, but I think Gavin Newsom is. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger is calling out Gavin Newsom's plan, because once you let politicians draw their own lines, the people lose. I agree with Arnold, and I disagree with Gavin Newsom.
Arnold might not be running for office, but he's running laps around modern politicians in authenticity. He doesn't need consultants or slogans. His whole persona is the slogan. And when he calls out someone like Newsom, the contrast is cinematic. Newsom talks about progress. Arnold talks about action. Newsom tweets. Arnold lifts. Newsom forms committees. Arnold builds gyms. One's polished, the other's primal. And in politics, primal usually wins hearts faster. Sure, the headlines will fade like every news cycle, but the image will stick. The former governor smirking while the current one scrambles to stay composed. It's political theater at its finest. Unscripted, absurd, yet completely believable. Every California leader eventually faces the Terminator's judgment, a symbolic torch passing. Except the torch is on fire and held by a man who refuses to age. Maybe that's the moral of the story. Politics has become entertainment, and entertainment has become politics. Arnold's just blurring the line he helped create. Newsom's the sequel, but the original still has the fan base.
Schwarzenegger is calling out President Trump as well, saying that gerrymandering is evil, and he used the word evil no matter who does it. It's unclear how hard Schwarzenegger will fight Newsom or what form that opposition could take. A recent picture, though, posted to Instagram showed the former governor wearing a T-shirt that read, "F the politicians, terminate gerrymandering." So we know where he's...
So, while the headlines fade and the next controversy rolls in, one truth remains. When Arnold speaks, people listen. Not because he's right, but because he's entertaining. And in California, that's more powerful than being competent somewhere. A political consultant is probably crying into a kale smoothie, realizing no amount of polling can compete with pure charisma. Newsom might try to move on and pretend none of this happened, but the internet never forgets. That clip of Arnold calling him out will live forever, a digital monument to California's endless drama. Because in California politics, the explosions aren't on movie sets anymore. They're real, they're loud, and sometimes they wear sunglasses. And that's how Arnold Schwarzenegger once again became the most talked about man in California, without lifting a single weight, just a few eyebrows.